Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to ask the Minister for Infrastructure whether the recent increase to public sector rents also applies to the higher rents charged to tenants under the fixed-term tenancy policy.
Minister for Infrastructure, Mr. Harman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Where a new fixed-term tenancy is offered on different terms, there are three options. Firstly, where a financial eligibility threshold for public sector housing has been exceeded by no more than 10%, the standard public sector rent will increase by a further 15%. In this instance, an annual change to the rental levy will apply. Secondly, where the eligibility threshold has been exceeded by more than 10%, but the household income is less than £60,000, the rent will be applied at 80% of market rate. In this instance, there will be no annual change to the rental levy. Thirdly, where the household income is more than £60,000, the rent will be applied at 100% of the market rate. In this instance, there will be no change to the rental levy.
Mr. Hooper.
Thanks very much, Mr. President. I wonder if the Minister could circulate a copy of the policy where those three percentages, that 10% uplift and the 60% is set out, because I don't recall seeing that in the fixed-term tenancy policy that was previously circulated. So I'd be grateful for that. Is the Minister not concerned then that by increasing some of these rents, the lower rents, but not actually increasing the market rate rents, all he's eventually going to do is move public sector rents up to a level that is comparable to the market rate, which sort of defeats the whole purpose of having public sector rents in the first place? Can the Minister comment on that?
Yes, I can. Firstly, I'm happy to circulate that. Secondly, obviously market rents do vary and will go up as over time. In actual fact, that the rental increase this year was actually still maintained that we were quite well below 50% of market rent, and that's one of the factors in terms of affordability and all of the other issues that go into determining what the public rent is.
Speaker.
Thank you. Would the Minister not agree that the idea of public sector housing is that it's there for the needy, and if people can afford to pay the market rate, they should be paying the market rate in the market so that people can access it who are on the waiting list, whose means are not as adequate?
Thank you, Mr. President. I think the key is there are some that do have housing needs, still have housing need for various different reasons, maybe disabilities or AIDS or whatever, and therefore, if they can pay and they're allowed to stay in their own in that accommodation, then they can do so. But obviously, if they've got good income, then they should pay appropriately.